ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Happy Kartik month to all the assembled devotees. Today we have selected a beautiful verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, I think 14th chapter and 16th shloka. That is the shloka you are all been going through. The shloka is very, very interesting. In the shloka, Shukadev Maharaj says that even very well-versed jnanis, they are also bewildered when they come to know about the activities of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Many times jnanis, they are completely bewildered. They don't understand. Because if you see in Ramayana, even for us it is very, very, bewildering. When Sita Mata left Lord Ramachandra, when Ravana kidnapped Lord Sita, Lord Rama is crying like a normal human being. Like a mad person, he is talking to plants and trees, crying and rolling on the ground. In the same way, Krishna Bhagavan getting married to wives, having children with his wives, and all these pastimes, it is very bewildering. That is why jnanis conclude these are all leelas of Brahman. God, that's why Brahman is even supreme than the person. It's very, very confusing, very confusing. So, Maya apahrita jnana. Anything too much is dangerous. If I have, knowledge, too much of knowledge, that is also dangerous. Too much of beauty, dangerous. Too much of wealth, that is also dangerous. Anything beyond a limit is dangerous. Not too tight, not too loose, just right. Yukta, that is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yukta ahara, don't eat too much. And don't starve also. Balanced food. Don't think too much. And don't be thoughtless also. Don't work like a wild ass. And don't be lazy also. Don't enjoy this material world too much. At the same time, don't keep away also. A balanced life is a perfect life. Anything too much is poisonous. So here Krishna says that knowledge, too much of knowledge, studying scripture after scripture and trying to accumulate knowledge, not good. That also bewilders. And one such person is Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra has learnt. He wanted to defeat Vasishtha. He wanted to become a better sage than Vasishtha. Vishwamitra had this competition against Vasishtha. So he also did a lot of penance, lot of gyan, lot of tapasya, and he attained. Then Mother Saraswati Mata thought, this is not very good. What Vishwamitra doing is not good, so I should teach him a lesson. So Vishwamitra, one day he was traveling and he happened to cross a village and he was feeling thirsty. Then in the middle of the village there is a well and a beautiful lady is drawing water from the well. So Vishwamitra felt very thirsty. Then he went and asked, "Oh beautiful gentle lady, can you give me some water to drink?" Then the lady said, "Yes, why not? It is Mother Saraswati. Why not? I will give you water. But I have not seen you in this village. Who are you?" And Vishwamitra was like full of pride. Vishwamitra thought, what does it matter? Why should I tell myself about to this simple village woman? So she said, I am a traveler. Vishwamitra said, I am a traveler. Then the village lady said, there are only two personalities in this world who are always traveling and they don't stay in one place. And the two are wealth and youth. They are the two constant travelers. They never will stay with anybody permanently, eternally. They keep on traveling. Who are the two people? Youth and wealth. We all get old one day. And our body will wrinkle. We all will go to the fag end of, we all will leave the body one day. Youth will never stay permanently. And wealth will also never stay permanently. So they are two travelers. Then Vishwamitra was like little taken aback. Wow, this lady is answering so smartly. Then lady asked, who are you? Please. Right? Then Vishwamitra thought for a while and said, I am a guest of someone. Then the lady said, how can you be guest? Disease is a guest. Disease will come and disease will leave. Disease will not stay permanently. So disease is a guest. Life is a guest because we will take birth and we will die and we will not stay permanently. So whatever answer Vishwamitra gives, she was counteracting with so many things. And finally Vishwamitra surrendered and asked, who are you? Then Mother Saraswati revealed herself. So Vishwamitra had this idea, I am a jnani, I know everything. That's not good. And in Chaitanya Leela, there are so many pastimes where this powerful, arrogant jnanis, they couldn't understand the Supreme Lord. Another one person was Keshava Kashmiri in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Digvijayi Pandit. He has defeated people in all 8 directions. He will go with thousands of his students, disciples, and go to every country and he will declare a debate and he will defeat them by his knowledge and get a title and leave. And Lord Chaitanya defeated him so easily. Digvijayi Pandit came to Navadvip. At that time, Mahaprabhu was Gauranga, was a teacher, Sanskrit teacher. He has so many students. Then when Kashmiri, when Pandit came, then all of them said, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Gauranga is the most knowledgeable person in our whole Navadvip. You can debate with him. So one day evening, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sitting on the bank of Ganga on the rock. Then hundreds of his students were there. Mahaprabhu is glowing like molten gold. Tejasvi, brilliant looking. Before taking sannyas, he had all the beautiful long hairs and beautiful pinkish eyes extended to the ears. Very handsome, brilliant, effulgent, radiant. He is sitting on the rock and students are learning. And Kashmiri Pandit, he walked with hundreds and thousands of his disciples. And he asked, are you Gauranga, whom they say the most learned person? Then Mahaprabhu got up very humbly, said, no, I am just a teacher of the students. I would like to debate. Then Mahaprabhu said, no, I can't. You are a great scholar. Then Keshava Kashmiri, just to prove his greatness, spontaneously he sang about Ganga, 100 slokas. 100 slokas. Just the slokas flow like river. Imagine we give you a paper and pen and tell you, okay, write one shloka about sky or write a shloka about sun and moon. Can you do that? We can't do that. Spontaneously, instantly, Keshava Kashmiri Pandit, he sang 100 shlokas about Ganga. Even Mahaprabhu was very admired. He was like, wow. Then Mahaprabhu said, there are some mistakes in your composition. Mahaprabhu took one mistake from the beginning, one from the middle and one from the end. And Kashmiri Pandit was like shocked. This has not happened in his entire life. Nobody had questioned him like this. He was completely shocked. Then he couldn't sleep that day, night. Then Mother Saraswati appeared and said, Keshava Pandit, don't worry. He is the Supreme Lord Narayana. Then early morning, Keshava Kashmiri Pandit paid pranams to Mahaprabhu and left Navadvip. Too much knowledge, our wealth, our health, our relationship, our job, our family, everything should guide us towards Krishna. If that is not happening, then this is useless. If my wealth is taking me away from Krishna, if my knowledge is taking me away from Krishna, if my family is dragging me away from Krishna, if all the resources are not helping me to understand Krishna, they are just decorations on a dead body. Useless it is. That same wealth, the same health and same resource will be a trap for miseries in this world. That's why whatever Krishna has given to us, we should simply utilize it in the service of Krishna. If Krishna has given a singing talent, we should sing for Krishna. If Krishna makes us dance, then we should dance for Krishna. If Krishna has blessed us with a lot of money, utilize little money for the glorification of Krishna. If He has given relationship, family, health, time, utilize. Otherwise, this just becomes a burden. That blessing itself will turn into a curse. Like Durvasa. He was a great tapasvi. Nobody can do tapasya like Durvasa. So one day Durvasa was sitting at the entrance of Dwarka. And that is the time Krishna has kidnapped Rukmini and came. So they are going to get married. So slowly the chariot was entering. Then Krishna and Rukmini, they saw Durvasa Muni sitting there. So they both got down and paid their obeisances. And told Durvasa Muni, oh great sage, we are so blessed. We are going to get married now. We are so happy a sadhu like you is there in the ceremony to bless us. You are in Dwaraka. What a great fortune. Please conduct our wedding and bless us. Krishna and Rukmini Mata prayed to Durvasa. Durvasa was blinded by his tapas. He was blind by his knowledge. Sometimes when we are blessed, when we don't deserve that blessings will make us blind. We think, I am very rich, I am very intelligent, I am very this thing, I am more qualified. Who are they? And this arrogance will separate us from Krishna. So Durvasa immediately told, okay, I will attend your wedding. I will bless you, provided you keep me in your chariot. Unlock the horses. Don't yoke the horses. Instead, one side Krishna, you pull the chariot and let Rukmini pull the other side. If both of you make me sit in the chariot and drag me, pull me like horses, then I will attend your wedding and bless you. What a condition Durvasa has put. Made the Supreme Lord pull the chariot and that most beautiful, gentle Rukmini Devi. But still, Lord, out of so much of respect for Durvasa, he unyoked the horses. And one side Krishna is pulling the chariot and another side Rukmini Devi is pulling the chariot. And Rukmini Devi could not. She is very gentle, very soft. And after some time in the hot sun, she is not able to move. She started sweating. She was feeling tired. She was feeling thirsty. So Rukmini said, Krishna, I would like to have some water. I am feeling very thirsty. So Krishna immediately took his flute and dug on the ground, and Mother Ganges appeared. And Rukmini Devi very happily drank water. And suddenly Durvasa asked Krishna, did I give you permission to give her water? Did you take my permission? How could you do this? And Durvasa cursed the whole of Dwaraka. He said, no, from today onwards there will not be sweet water in Dwaraka. All the waters will be salty. He cursed. And he also cursed Rukmini and Krishna that you will not get married immediately. You have to wait for a certain time. Durvasa was very arrogant with his gyan. He even cursed Rukmini and Krishna. The moment Durvasa did this, all the benefit of his tapas and knowledge and everything disappeared from Durvasa. Durvasa fell from his position. Then he went and begged sorry to the Lord and continued doing tapasya in Dwaraka. See this gyan? If this gyan is making us blind, if the tapas is making us blind, all the material resources in this world is supposed to bless us. It is not supposed to test us or take us away from Krishna. Then the beautiful prayer of Bhagavatam says, then I don't want that blessing. Like Markandeya. Markandeya, the Brahmanas, elderly Brahmanas, they never had a baby boy. So the Brahmanas did lot of tapas. And finally, Lord Shiva appeared and said, actually you don't have a son. Since you are doing so much of penance, I will bless you with a son. But he will live with you only for 16 years and he will die. Then the parents, they were so happy that they are getting a son. They said, okay. They didn't pay much attention. Then this boy became very intelligent, very smart, knowledgeable, gyan. Then when slowly the age was reaching 16, parents of Markandeya became very upset. And they were very much worried and morose. Then Markandeya asked, why are you upset? Then they said, the moment you touch 16, you will cross 16, you will die. So Yama came. The time when Markandeya is about to complete his 16, Yamaraj came. Then he threw his rope and Markandeya ran and hugged the Shivalinga. Then the rope fell on Markandeya as well as Shivalinga. Now Yamaraj is in trouble. How can I take Lord Shiva to hell or to his court? Then Lord Shiva appeared and blessed Markandeya. You will be eternally 16. You will never cross 16. You will be 16 forever. That is the greatest blessing which somebody can get in this material world. He is eternally 16. That is what Hiranyakashipu wanted. That's what Hiranyaksha wanted. That is what Ravana wanted. To win over death. And Markandeya easily attained it. He was 16 forever. Ages were passing, people were growing old, dying, new people were taking birth, growing adult, old age, death, birth, youth, old age, death. People were taking birth and dying, taking birth, generations were passing, and Markandeya is always 16. After some time, Markandeya started getting bored. People are taking birth and dying, birth and death. And generation, it is like, for example, somebody is asking Markandeya, who are you? And Markandeya says, I am your 13,526th grandfather, He is there forever. After some time, everything became meaningless. People are taking birth, laughing, crying, fighting, dying, laughing, crying, fighting, dying. Then Markandeya had only one prayer. Lord, let me also die. I am bored here. Then Pralaya came. My goodness. Water everywhere for thousands and thousands of years. Just water. And Markandeya is alone swimming in the water, and not 1 or 2 days. Ages after ages. Years and years. That loneliness brought some kind of fear in Markandeya. He was scared. He was feeling insecure. He was feeling alone. Then he cried, is there anyone somewhere? The greatest blessings in this world turned to be the greatest curse on Markandeya. He started crying, is there anyone else? Is there anyone else? Then one day he saw a beautiful banyan leaf, a tiny banyan leaf. On top of the banyan leaf, a baby Krishna sucking the toe and floating in the water, saying that Markandeya, don't worry, you are not alone, I am there. Kararavindena padaravindam pataravindena viniveshayantam vatasya patrasya pudeshayanam balam mukundam manasasmarami. Vatasya patrasya pudeshayanam. Vatapatrashai. Vata means banyan. Akshayavat. Vata. Vatapatra, the leaf. Shayanam. He was lying on the banyan leaf and sucking the toe. And the beautiful Lord is floating. Markandeya, don't worry, I am also there. What do you want, Markandeya? Markandeya said, I want death. I want to die. So all the blessings in this world, we should understand very clearly. If it is not connected to Krishna Bhakti, the same resource which is helping us can turn into a danger. So in the shloka, the jnanis, they are bewildered by Krishna's pastimes. They couldn't understand. Like I said, Lord Ram, when Mother Sita was kidnapped by Ravana, Lord Ram was crying like a baby, rolling on the ground, talking to the plants. Where is my dear Sita? What happened to her? Who kidnapped her? What happened? How can I live without Sita? And was crying, weeping. So even sages in the jungle, they were bewildered. How can the Supreme Lord cry like this? How can be like this? Another time in Mahabharata it is explained, Uddhava was passing by. Uddhava is Brihaspati's Sishya. Very well-versed person, highly knowledged person. When Uddhava was crossing by, he saw Krishna sitting in the room and crying, chanting Gopi's name, Gopi, Gopi, Gopi. He is crying. Continuously he is crying. Then Krishna asked, why are you crying? Uddhava asked Krishna, why are you crying? Because Krishna was crying with tears. Then Krishna said, I am thinking about gopis and I feel so much of separation. I am worried how much gopis will be thinking about me. So I am crying. Then Uddhava was like smiling. My Lord, how can you cry? You are beyond attachment and misery. You are beyond everything. You are beyond attachment. You are beyond separation. You are beyond everything. How can you cry? This is some kind of leela bewildering us. You know, so Lord puts up this kind of leela, getting married, and sometimes Satyabhama scolding Krishna like wives scold husband in their house. Satyabhama is scolding, and Krishna is taking care of the children. When Narada Muni went to 16,108 palaces, in some palaces Krishna is giving bath to his sons, dressing them up like a normal householder. And in some house, Krishna and his wife, they're arguing, argument is going on. Somewhere he is taking care of children, somewhere he is putting his children to sleep. Narada was like wondering what Supreme Lord is doing. And on top of all this, Mahabharata says, Bhagavatam doesn't say this, but Mahabharata says, when hunter Jara shot Krishna, Krishna left a dead body like a human being, which Arjuna took that body and did final rites. How can Supreme Lord leave a dead body like human being? Bhagavatam doesn't say that. Mahabharata says. Very bewildering. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Janma karma chame devyam yovam evam yoveti tatvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. My birth, Arjuna, my karma, my duties are very bewildering even to jnanis. Only a pure devotee will understand what I am doing. Others will speculate and interpret. Very difficult. Krishna does some things. Nobody will understand. We also sometimes think, I am chanting Hare Krishna and why I have to go through this problem? That devotee is such a great person, always chanting Krishna's name, and look at him, what he has happened. This misery has happened in his life. This problem has come to his life. This issue has come to his life. These are all bewilderment which Krishna creates. Why? Krishna wanted to filter the mixed bhaktas, Mishra bhaktas, and take only pure devotees to him. These are like filter. This bewilderment is filter. So devotees who don't have strong faith will get trapped in the filter. Devotees will think, I'm chanting 16 rounds for last 10 years, then why this should happen to me in my life? Why this has happened to him? Why this is happening? And in this filter, they will get stuck. Only pure devotee will pass by. Only pure devotee will pass by. So one day, Narada Muni went and asked Krishna. Narada Muni had this small feeling, I am a great devotee. So Narada Muni went and asked Krishna, who is your topmost devotee? Narada thought Krishna will answer, give his name, pronounce Narada's name. But Krishna started thinking deeply, and Narada is wondering, what is there to think so much? I am standing in front of him, and Lord can easily say, you are Narada, you are my great devotee. But Krishna started thinking very deeply. Then Krishna said, there is one cobbler who mends shoes, who repairs shoes. He is my greatest devotee. And Narada Muni was like shocked. He was taken aback. How can some cobbler whom I don't even know, I am traveling all the 14 planetary system, how can he be a great devotee? So Narada Muni went there to find out who the cobbler is. And that cobbler is a simple man chanting Krishna's name and repairing shoes and this thing like that. So Narada Muni went there and met this cobbler, and cobbler became so happy. Narada has come, Narada, you are so great, you are so blessed, you can meet Krishna anytime. Oh, so wonderful that I have seen you. Where are you coming from? Then Narada Muni said, I am coming from Vaikuntha. Really? You are coming from Vaikuntha? That means you have seen Krishna, you have spoke to Krishna, is it? Then Narada Muni said, yeah, I spoke to Krishna. Okay, what Krishna is doing? So Narada Muni thought, let me test him, what Krishna is doing. So Narada Muni said, Krishna is pushing an elephant through the eye of the needle. You know that needle which has got a tiny hole? Krishna is pushing the elephant through the eye of the needle, and elephant somehow passed the way, but the tail got stuck. Then the cobbler started laughing. And he said, definitely Lord can do this, and he can even do beyond this. Then Narada was like, how? Do you believe that Lord is pushing elephant through eye of a needle and the elephant passed away and the tail got stuck? Of course I believe. Why? If Lord can put such a huge banyan tree inside a tiny seed, inside the tiny seed there's a huge banyan tree and it comes out. If Lord can do this, can't he push an elephant through the eye of the needle? He can easily do. Then Narada realized, what an unflinching faith this man has got. What a faith he has got. That Lord can do anything and everything. What is impossible for Lord? Right? Narada learnt a lesson from that cobbler. That is faith. So, sometimes excess knowledge, excess wealth, excess blessings, excess resources can distract us away from Krishna. If that distracts, then it is useless. So that is why in the shloka it is said, even the jnanis, they're bewildered by the activities of Krishna. They couldn't understand why Krishna is doing that, why this is happening. They're completely bewildered. Right? So we should always remain humble. Have faith in Krishna. Everything is possible by Krishna's blessing. He knows what is really good for us than our own intelligence. Simply surrender to Krishna. Chant Krishna's names and remain humble. Life becomes successful. Thank you very much.